All right, what's up, everyone? Happy Monday. We're so happy. Some technical difficulties. So this is our second time coming through here. So we're just going to get into it. We're talking about why stylists leave. We see this online all the time. Jen, jump in whenever you feel like it. But people can't retain staff. People have a hard time with keeping good talent.
Mm-hmm.
And we see all these same excuses over and over again. And we're going to hopefully clear that up today. Anyways, we always start with our opening takes. So let's jump in. Jen, you can go.
Okay. You're not going to put the sound on?
I just played it.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
I'll play it again.
Okay. It doesn't come through my headphones. Does that matter?
I don't know. We're having some technical difficulties. I have no idea. So anyways, it's our opening takes.
Okay. Opening takes. Okay, so my opening take was that
I played it twice.
it's not in my headphones. I
All
can
right.
hear it, like, probably from that, but not through here. I don't know.
You can hear it from what? It's only on your headphones. There's no speaker playing this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it goes through the sound interface. Anyways, people don't need to hear this stuff. We'll cut this part out. Or we'll leave it in so people know what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah, here we are.
I don't know. Go ahead, opening take.
Okay, so my opening take is when most of you, if you listen, know that we had a flood at the salon. And I just expected coming back from the flood, there'd be like this burst of energy. Let's go, let's do this. And recently I'm just feeling a little meh about everything. And I am super thankful that I love what I do because I can show up to work. And once I start my clients, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm doing great hair. But I feel bad for those people. If you don't love what you're doing, you don't feel great in your craft. If you're feeling meh right now, then that can be really tricky. I don't know if it's that I'm waiting for warmer weather. I have no clue. But if you're feeling that, I'm going to say it's totally normal. And I'm just focusing on different things where I can help the staff and fill my cup in other ways and get through my day. And I'm looking forward to nicer weather where I can start feeling really awesome again and have more energy.
That ties right into my opening take, which is to get outside and take a walk. That's going to solve, I think I said probably, or when we first recorded this, Jen, I think I said 95% of your problems.
Mm-hmm.
If you are somebody that is just seasonally depressed or depressed at all, obviously I'm not a psychologist or whatever. I'm not trying to get crazy. I know in the hair world, we like to say we're therapists. No, you're not. If you're somebody that deals with anxiety, if you're somebody that is low energy, if you're somebody that doesn't sleep well, just get outside and take a walk. It's going to fix most of your problems. I know that for a fact because we used to own a gym. And once you get somebody moving a little bit, it becomes like this domino effect where you start to go from, well, a 5-minute walk isn't going to really help me, to I want more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you start to compound. Just like we talk about in business, you want to make decisions that compound, decisions that are exponential for future growth of your business. It's the same thing for your body. It's the same thing for your mind. And if you just get out there and start with a 5-minute walk every day, it might sound silly. And I've had this conversation a bunch of times with people, but over time it starts to be a 7-minute walk and a 10-minute walk. And then it's 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden you're hiking out in the woods or whatever. And it all starts from that silly little 5-minute walk. But get out there, shut your headphones off. You don't need a podcast. You don't need anything. Take 5 minutes to yourself. Bring your headphones. How about this? Bring your headphones. Go for a 5-minute walk where you're just listening to nature or you're just listening to the surrounding sounds. And then if you go past that initial mark, then you can have your podcast or whatever as a little reward, right? But try to get out there and try to be present and be in your own mind. And I think that might help. So maybe I don't know, maybe the universe is talking to you through me, Jen.
I need to walk.
When's the last time you took a walk for yourself?
No clue.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, let's get into what we're talking about today, which is why people can't seem to keep staff. And we hear all of these same excuses,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, over and over again, which is there's no loyalty, quote unquote, the younger generation They're entitled. I don't even get what that one means, really. No one wants to work. So if that were true, if it were the younger generation, and if it were no loyalty or people don't want to work, if it was that, I'll leave the entitlement one out because it confuses me. Can you explain it? Do you know
I
what people
don't.
mean by that?
No.
I've been seeing that recently a lot where people say the younger generation is so entitled. Is it because they are the charge my worth generation? Is that what? Because I feel like that started with the millennials.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. If somebody knows, reach out and let us know. By the way, if you click send us a fan mail or send us a text message now, whatever it's listed as through our podcast hosting, you used to be able to just send a text message, Jen, right? People would send in text messages with questions. You can now send us a voicemail right through that.
Oh, wow.
So you'll press that button and it will prompt you, do you want to send a text or a voicemail? And you can click through and then we can use your voicemail on the podcast. Yeah. So if you have a question out there or whatever, or
Send us
something
a voicemail.
interesting, or send us a voicemail. And it's cool. It's all private, so it's protected. I can't see anything. I don't know where it came from. It doesn't give me your name. So if you want to leave your name so I can reach out to you, great. If you don't, you want it to be private, just click through and it'll walk you through it. Anyways, where were we? Oh, I was just going to say, if that is the truth, that it's all those things to blame, then how do you explain the salons that are fully staffed? How do you explain the salons that are growing? How do you explain the salons that are doing well and have that age group, that age range? Because that's what we have. We have from 19 to, I keep saying 30. Mm-hmm. That's the age range that we have, about a 10-year swing. So how at Hello Hair have we possibly been able to fill and hold on to our staff? Now, you said in the original recording of this a little while ago that it hasn't all been peaches and cream.
Yes. In the beginning, we went through a lot of changes with hiring, firing, not hiring correctly, our hiring process having a lot of flaws in it. Hiring because we needed people rather than hiring the right people. But that has grown into now where we have a great hiring process, a system. It's always evolving. And that's how we hire now. And this generation also understanding what are their needs and wants, and then working on the business to try to make a balance between those.
Episode 236, which was why salons struggle to hire and how to fix it. I think we laid out all of our process, like our 4-part process there. So if people want to listen, they can go back and listen to that. Great stylists, or any stylists that are worth having on your team, they don't leave randomly. They don't leave out of nowhere. They don't leave just out of the blue, because it's actually, I would say, a pain in the ass to leave and to go somewhere else. And Jen, you can definitely talk about that because you've left your share of salons over the however many 2.5 decades or so that you've been doing hair.
I think too, it's most people are uncomfortable with change, so they're going to stay way longer than they should, which gives you more opportunity longer than you should have to fix that. And if you have any pulse on your business, it's very easy to spot someone that's on their way out. And then you have two choices: let them leave and do nothing, or start having conversations with them and try to fix whatever's going on.
Do you think, so that's an interesting point. Do you think that it's worth having a conversation with someone and trying to keep them in your business? Or when someone makes their mind up, are they already gone?
I think it depends. So one of the salons I was leaving at one point, the leadership just was lacking big time. And I didn't realize that at the time. I was young. I had no idea. I was like, just something in here is off. And so like when we would have meetings, I stopped even like participating in meetings big time. So it was very obvious, I feel like, that I was disengaged. But nobody was like, hey, why aren't you participating in these meetings? I didn't actually want to leave, but at that point I was like, there's nothing happening here that's great. I ended up, when I quit that salon, the partnership was breaking up. And so that's a lot of what was happening behind the scenes, but they didn't want to divulge that, which if they had a conversation with me, probably would have realized we're all on this, what's happening here, but no one wants to have hard conversations. So I wouldn't have needed much to stay except understanding why the dynamics in that salon had changed so much and what was going on, right? People think they can hide things. Well, they can't. They suck at it. It's usually very obvious, even if you don't know what's happening. So
The vibe feels off. I always say that,
yeah,
like when you go into somewhere, like any business, right? It could be any sort of business. When you walk through the door and there's like this tension,
yeah,
like there's just the
yep.
vibe is off. Your staff is going to
Oh,
feel that long
totally.
before your customers and your
Right.
clients, but it does trickle out to where everyone listening knows exactly what I'm talking about. You've walked into somewhere and been like, "Huh, I'm not sure what's going on here,
Yeah,
but
I
it's
had no clue. I used to wear I quit
awesome."
socks walking in every day because I'm like, someday I'm gonna quit this place. I don't know what's happening here. But
I remember
I
those.
was too young to even understand that, or I was too young to even have the conversation. But at the same point, if you have good leadership, if you see your stylist changing or things aren't right, it's your job to me to have a conversation. I'm not saying chase that employee. If they're on their way out and they've already made the decision, they've already decided whatever you stand for, whatever you're running, they want something different. Cool. It's probably their time to go. Grass isn't always greener. Let them find out themselves. What I'm saying is, if you're a good leader, you'll see before those things happen that things are falling off. It may even be that they're not showing up the same. They're not putting in the same effort. Your job, what's going on? That conversation could change everything else from that on. If you let that keep happening, though, that stylist, and we're talking about this younger generation, they don't know even why they're feeling that. They might not even be aware they're showing up differently. So it's your job to engage in that. And either it makes a change for the better or it pushes them out quicker. Either one, who cares? Let it happen. I think the younger generation, when I was younger, leaving salons, the environment was huge. As I aged and got busier, I think it was not feeling valued that became the other part of the conversation. I was like, I know I'm really busy in this salon and I feel like the owners don't even care or aren't like, hey, wow, you had a great week. Like they weren't engaging in those things with me. And that would have been the feedback that would have kept me there longer for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just wondering because we've had both sides of that equation. We've had people at Hello that are on their way out and we're like, peace.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had people that are like, hey, I'm on my way out. And we've been like, really? Like, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything we
Yeah.
can do? And that is because I think some people we looked at and we're like, you're a good fit
Mm-hmm.
here. We know you're a good fit here. And we feel like you leaving is not the best thing for you
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. Because everyone, I know people say, I don't want to be dismissive of people out there listening. I get it. When you feel like you just need staff and you have this business and it's empty and that's stressful. I get it. So I don't want to be dismissive of that. I get it. It's emotionally stressful. It can be physically stressful, financially stressful, all those things. But when people are leaving, sometimes I've looked at it and I'm like, we'll be fine. We'll find
Mm-hmm.
somebody to fill that chair, to fill those shifts. But it's the person leaving that I'm like, I don't think this is the right decision for them. But
Yes.
also, I don't beg. So it's always, if you've made your mind up, that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. There's been a
I get
handful of that where I'm like, and we've seen it because you see where they've now on to like their 6th, 7th salon. It is what it is. But yeah, when they've decided to leave, I'm like, wow, it's very interesting because we are probably your best fit for you. But it is what it is. I always say I can't want more for someone than they want for themselves. So there are some people
yeah.
when they're on their way out, I'm like, yeah, they've always been on their way out too. Also, I think sometimes it's hard because you're like, oh,
That is true too. A lot of people are just transient. Like
yep,
they come into one place, they see what they can do for 6 months, and then they move, and then they're like not bought in, and then by 9 months, a year and a half tops, they're gone.
yeah, and you can,
That's their plan
yes,
because on the flip side, so you have a group of owners that are the younger generation doesn't get it. No one wants to work like we worked. And I was in a mall passing out business cards to every single person. And then on the flip side, you have the stylists that are just salon owners never get it and they're so greedy and they do all this stuff. So that is a archetype. That's not the younger hairstylists. That's a person in general.
yes.
Whether you're an owner or you work for somebody is irrelevant. If that's your personality type, that's your personality type.
Right. Yeah, they're just always going to be like that. I think to what you just said, a really good point is I do think in the commission salon business, a lot of staff or stylists, hairdressers, barbers, whatever, or any commission business, they do believe that like the owner's taking all the money, right? So it's on you. And Todd, you do a great job with this. It's on you to explain how money works in your business, what comes in, what goes out. And when you explain that, your staff gets the biggest chunk of the money. And once they start to understand that and almost like respect what the commission is and how it works, they look at their job completely different and they look at their paycheck and they're like, wow, I'm doing great here. But if you can't explain money in and out and the percentages and how they're getting the biggest chunk, you're always going to see them leaving because they think you're getting it all. And you may not like that, but that is how a stylist thinks.
That is true. That is 100% accurate, Jen, in regard to commission salons. It doesn't explain to me why we see the same thing in rental salons too.
Yeah.
I can't find renters. I can't find any. I opened all these suites and I can't find anyone to fill them. And I know it's not an issue for everybody. So what are the salons that are full? Their suites are full or their booths are full. And in a commission salon, all of your shifts are full. What are those salons doing that other salons aren't? I think this goes back to the tier A sort of thing. Like some salons are evolving and some businesses are progressing and they're innovating and they're choosing to move into the future. I saw recently somebody said, I had a bunch of stylists leave and they all said they wanted X, Y, and Z, but that's not how I do things and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And someone else in the comments who I was like, this is a sort of enlightened response here. This is something that I think is cool. They said they're literally giving you the blueprint for what they want and you're not doing it. Like, figure it out. So let's talk about before we get into some fixes or what people are looking for, what are some things that push a good stylist out of a salon? I have 5 things here, I think.
I'd say no growth opportunity.
Yeah.
A lot of salons, I think, cap out. Like, this is as high as I could go. If that's the end for me, then once I'm getting close to it, I'm going to look elsewhere for different opportunities. And why is there a cap? Like at our salon, you could just, sky's the limit. Get busy enough, you're going to keep raising your prices, and we're going to help you do that and support you.
Yeah, I think no growth plan is a crazy one to me. There's no mentorship, there's no plan, and there's no development. And people say, why provide education? That's not necessarily all people need. They need more guidance. They want you as a mentor, as the business owner. You should be mentoring people. And what does a mentor do? That buys them speed. You should be able to get them to where you're at or beyond sooner because you've already been through that process. And that's what I think that's one of the things we do really well at Hello is get people going quickly. Yeah. We don't do this sort of 18-month assistant program where you're just sweeping floors or whatever. No. Why would I want to pay you to sweep floors? I want you generating your own income
as quick as possible.
And I want to teach you how to do that. Yeah. So that's a crazy one. Lack of clarity is one that I had, Jen. I actually had that first on my list because we're big on foundations, which is your mission and your vision and core values. But when you don't have clear expectations, when you don't have like a direction or a focus of your business, and there's a lot of guesswork, people don't like operating in confusion. Right. And so that's another thing I would say that is pushing people out of.
Yeah, your stylist needs and I'll actually go back to the salon I owned before Hello. I had staff come to me and said, we need more rules. Like, imagine staff saying we need more rules. But what you're saying is, like what Todd just said, we didn't have clear expectations. And we were running from that place, they should just know. And basically what they were saying to us as 2 owners, my last ex-business partner, was basically, there's no clear expectations here. So we're not sure how to operate, and we're getting different signs from one owner versus the other owner, and like someone needs to be clear here. Now, that's even embarrassing to say because your staff shouldn't come to you and be like, we need rules. Holy crap, right? You need to have those systems, those standards, those expectations in place so that all they have to do when they come in is do creative, awesome, amazing hair. That's it. That's what's expected. You know what the rules are. Here we go. But if you don't have those, and if you don't have a staff that's coming and asking you for it, then they're looking somewhere else that has the stuff they're looking for.
That leads exactly into another point I had on my list, Jen, which was the rules change depending on the day. So inconsistency in your standards, just different expectations for different people. That's such a turnoff. Yeah. I've worked in other industries like restaurants, for example. There's always the jerk that shows up after everything's all set up. He's always late. And it's just tolerated. Yeah.
If you don't do something about it, you're allowing it, right? We've said that all the time.
Exactly. And then it's like a slap in the face to everyone else that's there ready. Quick story, when I worked in a restaurant one time, There was this dude that always showed up late. He was just like a jerk. Like he knew if I show up at this time and just give whoever my excuse, they're not going to say anything to me, but all the work will be done. And everyone had to set up his section.
Right.
We all had to do the work because the work needed to get done. And the salon, the restaurant was looking for a restaurant manager. And so I applied, and guess who else applied? That dude. Well, I got the position because I'm me. And I was being funny there for people listening. And I ended up firing that dude. I gave him a talk, and I was like, hey, you're not showing up. We're all putting in the effort to have this place ready to go and set up for everybody. You're the only one that's just showing up and riding off of what everyone else is doing. And that's not cool. The next day, so he said he understood. The next day he showed up, and I let him show up late. And he showed up, and I said, hey, I met him at the door, and I was like, I got to let you go. You just don't get it. And if I'm already doing the work, I'll just do the work, but you're not going to get the money for it.
Right.
So I don't you're out. Because if at that point, I'm the manager, and if my team starts to see me let this person just do whatever that I was complaining about too when I was with them on the floor, they see me not doing anything. They're not going to buy in when I ask them to do something.
They're not going to trust you. None of it's good. And that one bad seed it'll take over. Negativity will always take over positivity. So you have to be really careful there. We had that at my last salon. We let one thing slide. And even I would give excuses. Well, this, that, whatever. When I look back, I'm like, no, that never should have been allowed as long as it had. And it ended up, it was bad. It just created a lot towards the end and pushed us to close even probably quicker. But I allowed it. So by not doing anything, I allowed it. And at the end of the day, that's on me.
So that's funny. That leads directly into my other note I had, which is weak leadership. So avoiding conversations is the first thing I had there.
You have to have
unclear direction and no accountability.
At the end of the day, Todd and I take full responsibility for everything, everyone, all the things that don't get done, the things that fall through. It's on us because we either didn't have a conversation, we weren't paying attention enough, we didn't explain something clear enough. Yeah, it's our job to have those conversations, easy or not. And the more you have them, they do become easier, but they're not always fun, but they're part of your job, a big part.
And for people listening, none of this stuff has to be perfect. It just has to exist. For example, you don't have to be Abraham Lincoln giving a speech. People want a conversation with leadership. They want to know what they're doing right. They want to know what they're doing wrong.
And I'll tell you, this generation, they appreciate those conversations and they feel like you're looking out for them and they feel valued because you're like, hey, I recognized this the other day. What's going on? It doesn't have to even be rude. Just what's going on. And like, thanks for caring. Like, thanks for even making me a better human. You will create a better community and culture in your salon because of these conversations.
So I will say one caveat there. You have to actually care.
True. Okay, good point.
Because people are going to be like, what is this person? So if you go in and you're just like, hey, oh my God, like, what? You're so interesting. I want to know about you. They're going to be like,
this is weird.
Yeah. What is happening?
Yeah. Again, you have to come from a place of leadership. You're not their friend. You are their boss. You are leading them to better things. You are leading them to a better future. You are leading them to be better at their job. That's what you're doing. And these conversations need to be along those lines, right? So that it's constructive to their future in your business.
Right, exactly. Jen, the last thing I had on my list was just environment. This lack of support, tension. Nobody wants to work in a place that they're walking on eggshells all the time.
Totally. On both sides there, the environment like that and the environment of not clean. You haven't updated your salon. You're not putting any effort in. It looks the same as it did 15 years ago. It's going to eventually, they're going to go to the new salon that popped up, and that might even just be because of the environment.
Sure, because it'll be good for a little bit before it's not good. That's just how it mostly goes in this industry. Yeah. Okay, so I think if you have people leaving all the time, that's feedback. Yeah. That's data. That's a metric. That what are you going to do about it is the answer, or is the question. It's not where to find new people. It's what are you going to do? Because if people keep leaving your business and you don't change anything, people are going to keep leaving your business. It sounds silly, but that's the truth.
Right. You're in the hamster wheel. Like you need to stop something and change something.
I also think, and I'm gonna use the word good, but I don't mean that they're better than anybody else, but I think weak environments will repel good people.
Yeah.
And I think that good people don't stay where low standards
Yeah.
are just accepted.
Agreed.
It's just not going to happen. So let's dive into, we can run, I have a list, but you probably have a better list, Jen,
Mhm.
because you've actually been through this a bunch of times. But what creates retention? What can people do to hold on to their staff? And good news, if you're listening and you're interested in changing this stuff, we've been through it.
Mhm.
Because like you said, Jen, I think in the beginning was we had to go through making all the hiring
Mhm.
mistakes. We had to go through hiring
Just to hire.
just to hire when we didn't even realize
Mhm.
that's what we were
Yeah.
doing. We went through those
I'll tell you
processes.
this, I remember the point when I did realize it. Todd kept asking for a schedule for a girl that we had just hired, and I kept ignoring him. And he's like, "Jen, you gotta give me a schedule." And then I finally was like, "I don't want to." And he's like, "What? We already hired her. Like she did." I'm like, "It's not a good fit." And I know that. And that really started that moment there. Like I was like, this has to change. Like literally, like I don't think I had the words like we were hiring just to hire, but I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to fill chairs and I need to fill them with people I want to work next to. And that sort of switched everything in the conversation and how we started putting a different system in place.
Yeah. And again, I think it's episode 236. If you go back and listen to that, we break down the 4-part and it starts with a
Right.
chat because if we can't have a conversation with someone, we can't work with
Mm-hmm.
them. That's just how it goes. But, anyways, I had clarity as my number one. People want to know what's expected of them.
Yes.
They want to know the direction of the business. They want to know the roles of everything. Even we'll break down, Jen, when your apprentice is, this happens earlier on, but you'll put in Slack to the team, like, hey, I'm not in today. Our apprentice is in, whoever that, or my apprentice is in, whoever that's it. She's working on
Mm-hmm.
this, X, Y, and Z, so that people don't, not that people take advantage, but people subconsciously would take
Right.
advantage. Before we had that rule, they'd be like, oh, I have an
Yeah.
assistant. And that's not why that person's there. That's a different role.
Mhm.
Some days it was, hey, and this is a little further on in the apprentice, it's, hey, so and so is available today if you need help with anything. Like I have her working on washes, I have her working on
Mhm.
whatever. So if you want help blow drying, whatever, things like that. So just roles, what is everyone's role? What is everyone expected to
And
do?
that's also follows on communication, right? Communicating with your team so they're always at least up to date with what's happening. So they're not guessing or what's new, what's happening, what am I supposed to do over here?
Yeah. Yeah, everything has to be communicated, all of this stuff. Consistency was another one, Jen, I had on my list for, it just has to be the
Yeah.
same. It has to be the same for everyone. And that's important for us at Hello. That was one of the things we opened with. Everyone is treated the same. Every client is treated the same. I don't care if it's your mom or your boyfriend. When they come in, they're treated as a client.
Right.
And I get that that's difficult. I get it can be awkward, but I don't care. That's how, because it's their time. Now, if somebody's coming in for a model, whatever, there's always like different stuff, but it has to be the same follow through and it has to be the same rules for the staff and how you treat the clients and how the business reacts. Even there's, say you get a redo, what does that look like? That should be the same answer
Mhm.
for every redo. It shouldn't be just the owner makes it up on the fly.
Right. And if you are making it up, now you have to start putting in systems, like make notes. What am I making up on the fly? Those are what you need to start having systems for so you can be consistent and show the clarity.
Mm-hmm. Growth, we talked about, Jen, lack of growth being,
This is huge, I think.
yeah, being something that drives people away. So have a growth plan for people. We talk about this when we do our meetings with our staff, one-on-ones, two-on-one
Mhm.
meetings that we do. But what does education look like for that person? Not just I bring in educators. Okay, cool. Like you got a free class
Oh.
from some scissor company. That's awesome. Look, and I'm not knocking it. Do the classes you want to do, but is that even what your staff is
Yeah.
interested in?
Education has to have intention. Like we every
First,
Yeah, every
yes.
year we're reevaluating what are the needs of the staff? What do we want to see them technically grow? What are the needs of the business? Like how many holes do we need to fix this year? We can't fix them all every year. So what's most important year to year? And they're all very different. And bringing in education based on that, not just like you just said, oh, there's a free haircutting class. Let's have it. Is it even something that your staff wants? Is it even something they're going to learn from? Is it even worth their time? Those are all really
Right.
important to Todd and I. And because they are, when we have a class, all of our staff shows up. They don't have to be mandatory. They show up because they know we vetted the educator, we vetted the process, and we're making sure their time is valued.
That's a big part of it too. I think for owners, you really have to curate what's going on in your
Yeah.
salon. So if you bring in a bad educator, that's on
Yep.
you.
And we've done that too and apologized. That
Oh,
has
yeah.
happened.
Yes, we've apologized several
Yep.
times. Hey, I thought this was going to be
Yep.
different. So mentorship is undergrowth. That again is just speeding people up. People want to get to their goals. Do you even know what their goals
Right.
are? Or do you just lay out KPIs in a meeting? Because that's boring to people.
And if you're talking about a generation right now that's not buying in, it's because you're literally spitting out things at them that they don't care about. So you have to find out what their buy-in is. And you can still sprinkle in what your needs are too. Like I think I said, I don't know.
Oh, of
I don't know if it
course.
was this one or the one we recorded first, but there's a balance there, right? We understand what our staff has needs for. We get their wants. It doesn't mean we can deliver on all of them or that we want to, but we're still listening. And then we're still making a plan that makes sure the business is served first so that the business can stay in business for the staff.
Definitely. Being able to accelerate people's careers, I think, is
Huge.
something that people fear because then they get to that, what if I teach them everything I know and they leave?
And they may, but
Yeah, they
if
might.
you can
I don't
offer all
know.
this
But
stuff on top of it, they're going to keep looking at, whoa, like how much further can I get under this leadership that I never would have got on my own? And then they see opportunity that they can't actually even see because they're like, wow, this person can really get my career to a place that I never thought was possible. And if I stick with them, I'm going to surpass every goal I ever had. Huge.
and where does that come from?
Leadership, confidence.
Well, I was going to say that it comes from a leader that's constantly pushing themselves
Yeah,
also.
true.
Because if you're not pushing yourself,
Right.
eventually your team's going to catch
Yep.
you. And when they catch you, that's a ceiling now.
Which also I think
I never understood for this exact reason. I never understood like hard like level systems. Like we have levels 1 through 7, say a salon will say, what happens when I hit level
Right.
7? That's it. That's the most money I can ever make ever.
And I think there's a lot of owners out there that are like, I don't want them to get where I'm at. They can't be better than me. I want my whole team to be ahead of me. I want to be at the bottom. That would be amazing. I don't understand why it's like you're scared if somebody actually surpassed you, one of your staff. Like with your leadership, they could. Where are they going to go?
Let's talk about leadership because you're nailing it today with my notes. That's the second time that you lined up with my
You're
next
welcome.
point, which is leadership. Thanks. I think people want leadership that's present. Again, you can own a salon and not do hair, but you need a leadership team that's in there. You need somebody that is between you and the staff. You need something where people can go to and they feel like they can be heard. You need somebody, whether it's you or somebody else, that's direct. And there has to be support. It has to be supportive.
Yeah, it's a big one because I think this is a lot where stylists go out, they open a salon, and they're like, it's going to be fun. We're just going to do hair, whatever. And then eventually you may be doing hair, but you have to lead a team. They're looking up to you. They're following part of probably what you're doing. Like you're leading by actions first, not your words, your actions. So you have to switch your mindset and put on that leadership hat and probably read some books and listen to some podcasts on how to lead people so that they're inspired and they believe in what you're saying and doing. I've done this for so long. So for me, like my track record helps me for sure, right? What I do every day and pushing myself is just part of my life. So we attract staff that sees value in that.
Mm-hmm. The last point I had, or last note I had, Jen, was people leave because of the environment.
Yeah, for sure.
So a way to keep them is environment. And people want, another thing that people want is stability. This all comes from that consistency in the leadership, but they want stability. They want a respectful environment. They probably want, if I had to pull a word that's, I feel like becoming a buzzword, but it's literally the name of our salon. People want collaboration. Gone, I think, are the days where you pretend that you're not going out back to ask people what you would do for a formula.
Yeah.
I think people would hide that back in the day because they're like, oh, if my client thinks I'm asking for help. What we've seen is it's the opposite.
The client feels famous.
Our clientele loves that multiple people are working
Mhm.
on them. Yeah, who else has that
Yeah.
happen? Celebrities and other people. Yeah, I the good news is that this stuff isn't just luck. It's retention is something that you build. And you're going to have a higher retention where people just see a
Yeah.
future. If you can't see the future, or there's just chaos all the time, or people don't know what they're supposed to be doing, people are going to leave. And you might think that your business is solid. You might think you have all that stuff covered, but if people are constantly leaving, don't ignore that.
Right.
It's feedback. It's not bad luck. It's
Yeah, you
feedback.
have to
And
listen.
you have to break that loop. And again, I don't know what it looks like in your business, but I see people constantly on Facebook groups that are like, I can't keep anyone. And then everyone just blames the same things over and over again, which you're not
Yeah, you
helping.
gotta find a solution.
What are the actual issues? Again, this all goes back to what I called randomly one day tier A, and then the field, everyone else, is that the salons that don't struggle with retention are the salons that built environments that people want to be
Mhm.
in. That's in intention, like
Yeah.
Jen, you keep saying. And tier A salons, they're not salons that are chasing people. They're never on the groups going, we're hiring, we're hiring, we're hiring. Like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Come here, come. No, come to my salon. Come here. They're attracting people and they're keeping people.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying that the way we do things is the best. I'm just saying it seems like a lot of the industry has this problem. We don't happen to have this
Right.
problem. So how can we help? How can we be of service to anyone that might be
Right.
listening? I don't know. So hopefully you got something out of it today. And if you're still listening, reach out with one of those fan mails, because we haven't got a
That'd be
voicemail
fun.
yet, because they just announced it. I got the email like a day ago.
Cool.
So it's brand new. Anyways, thanks for listening. Jen, you have anything?
Nope.
All right. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.